Hey guys, thanks for popping along. My name's James and welcome to this plumberparts.co.uk video. Today what we're going to be doing is taking out a 4-tick cylinder that's behind us. 4-tick tanks are kind of special and we'll have a brief look at them in a sec. But what we're going to do is we're going to whip out the tank that's behind us and put in a new Kingspan Unvented direct cylinder. So it should be quite an easy job because we effectively only have one feed pipe and one flow pipe coming back out. And then after that, just our pressure relief discharges and our unvented cylinder expansion vessel. But anyway, before we get into all that, I'd like to ask you to please subscribe to our videos. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat and Twitter. And I'll see you soon. I'll tell you what, hold on, just wait there. I'm going to put you on my Instagram story right now. So you can follow us on Instagram at plumberparts, doing loads there. I love the stories thing. It's a really good laugh. Oh, spin it round. You know that thing when you open up your phone to do a photo and it's pointing around back at you and you think, my God, I look awful. Anyway, look guys, how's it going? I hope you enjoyed today. So I'm going to send that over to my Instagram story now. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video guys and let's have a bit of fun with the plumbing. Hold tight. So the old 4-tick tank that we're taking out here today, really the problem with these is often pressure. They're installed in sort of flats and places where you don't have any head pressure height, but also it was probably from a time when unvented cylinders weren't really like massively popular in UK homes. We're going to take this back to the studio and cut it apart and show you exactly how they work. So the top of the whole heating system, water-wise, is right up here at the top just there. The reason for that is because this is a flat roofed property here and there's nowhere for a tank to sit on. Let's face it, we don't live in Spain and we can't have our tanks sat on the roof or whatever they do. So what happens is water is introduced to a ball valve at the top there, comes down into the bottom of the tank. This is actually the heated side of the tank here, gets heated up and then goes out of this pipe here off to your taps. Now the problem is that the water pressure then is, the head pressure you've literally only got is just here. And that sometimes isn't enough for a modern family or the property that we're in today. Piddly boo-boo! Oh my man, that is so slow. That is the slowest ever. How long is that going to take even to fill that up? Literally guys, I've not strangled down a valve or anything. That is literally the pace. You look at the cold water on the other side, and that's obviously coming through a really small pipe anyway, so that's not great. I tested the flow out of the taps on the bathroom just over there, and the cold absolutely flies out. So we should be able to make a big improvement to the pressure on this system. A quick description of the system here itself. We've got our little 4-tick tank just behind you and a little bit, so a metre above where we are at the moment. That's where the head is, and that's just sitting really high up in that airing cupboard. Then we've just got this hot and cold here, and then we've got a hot and cold basin, a toilet and a bathroom just behind you over there, and that is basically it. There's no other water services in this house at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to whip this beast out, we're going to drain it down, cut it out, and we're going to put in an unvented direct cylinder. I'll have a little chat to you about that once we've got it in. Also, there's a tiny little bit of pipe work down low that needs a bit of clearing up, I think. And yeah, we'll just pop some valves on here, make it look nice, make it look cool, and basically get the job done like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the electrics knocked off and taken out of the way, and then get my hose pipe on the outlet and pray to God that the drain off opens up. This probably hasn't been opened in ages, so little things like this not only make it difficult to do the job, but a bit pensive when you're filming it anyway. So let's get all that done now and reconvene in a minute. The moment of truth. So amazingly enough, I've actually got a little bit of water coming out of here. It should actually just slowly rise up this pipe and start coming out any minute now. So if I hold this high up and go past the height of the top of the tank, you see, no more water comes out. Go on, be free, be free. Right then guys, so I've got the system drained down, we've got the water off. Now I've got to be pretty quick here because there is no stopcock to this whole house and I've had to knock the water off to 4 cottages, okay, to do this. What I've done, this is the sort of thing you learn about plumbing that you'd never told at college. I've had to go to knock on 3 other doors to make sure that it's all right to turn their water off, and they've all been really, really good about it. Make sure that their washing machines are turned off, and make sure obviously that all their kettles are filled up. That's the most important thing, as we all know. See what, another little tidbit about this job that we don't usually put into videos is that when I got here, there was a big bag of old towels. I was like, you can have them. Oh yes, I was like, thank God. I was like running out. All my towels are so manky now. And now I've got a nice fresh bag of really lovely, warm, completely clean towels. So that's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do this in quick time. We're just going to whip out this. I'm probably going to have an electrician actually look at some of the wiring here. It's a bit dodgy. And just get the old tank out of the way. It's feeling like it's getting pretty well drained down now. And also get some of this shelving out of the way as well. That's another little thing. I mean, when we finish this job, I'm probably going to have to build all the shelving up because I won't have any. And that's just a little sort of thing you do to make sure your customer's happy. So anyway, I'm going to do that. I've got to cut a valve in, get all that lot done, and you were just going to watch it in quick time. I would love to describe it, but literally I've got half an hour to get this done. So let's get on with it, guys. Oh yeah! Right, so I've got my new valve in and everything, so now I can turn all the water back on, get the old tank out and the new tank in. Always test electrical connections to make sure that everything is dead, otherwise, well, you might end up dead. We don't want that. Sometimes you actually have to be Superman to do this job. That's it. Doing this sort of thing pays dividends. Cock up one side of the tank and then you'll know that everything's okay, you know. You'll know that you're getting low. Look, I mean, that stopped running a minute ago, but I guarantee that that's still trundling away nicely now. Shut the drain off on it, because obviously we're going to take our hose off now and we don't want water to be coming out, do we? He-Man yet again. So then guys, let's have a look at the new tank that we're putting in. We've got a Kingspan Ultrasteel. Come on. This has actually got twin immersions on it, but for this job, we're not going to be using both of these. Usually you have twin immersions on if you've got like an economy 7 system. So you have your boost one up here. So if suddenly you need a bath, you'll be like, oh, turn the boost on, bang, and it will sort of heat up the top part of the water. It does kind of percolate about anyway, obviously, but that's the idea. And then your night setback is the bottom one down here. For this job, we're going to be using the night setback one for the whole tank. So then we've got our high pressure relief valve on here. This is set to 7 bar. The pressure here isn't amazing. I'm never really going to have to worry about it. But obviously we'll follow standard regs to get that terminated. We've got our cold inlet just down here. And then unusual for these tanks, usually what happens is the tank comes out of the side. This one comes out the top here, which I kind of like actually. It's going to make the changeover for the hot outlet really easy. I'll bung a little valve on there as well, so if there's any problems then we know we can valve it off. Let me just get the box. Also with Ultrasteels, when you buy them, you'll get your expansion vessel as well, and that's got a built-on clip on it, which I've got to say is a godsend. You don't usually get that. Let's just pop that down here. You'll get your standard combination valve. I've done a video on how combination valves work. I'll leave a link to that in the link below. This is for giving you a balanced hot water and cold water outlet. So I'll be blanking off the outlet on this because the cold water side we don't really want to balance and strangle down because, like I said, we haven't really got an amazing pressure in this area anyway. Then we also have our standard nuts and olives, bits and bobs, all in a box, and also our tundish as well for our high pressure relief valves to dump into. I'm sure you're aware we've got one on here and one on here we've got to bring in together, then down to the tundish and then off to the drain. So I'm going to have a quick clear up where we've just been, get ready to wiggle this beast in, and then it's simple really. I can just plan out my pipe work from then on in. Those lies you gave to me will let me see where I come from. Right, so I've got the beast in here now, and it's kind of like the moment where you design out what you're doing, how you're going to figure out how this system's going to work. Couple of little pointers I'd say. Number one, combination valve on all unvented cylinders needs to be serviced every year. And it's a nice thing for you to do for whoever comes along to service after that, to try and put your combination valve reasonably high up so they don't have to drain the whole tank out to take it apart and clean the filters out and everything. All they need to do is just knock the water off, maybe drain a little bit at the top, and then they can get on with their day. Think about that guy who's coming after you. And obviously along that line as well, always make sure that you try and have drain off some valves wherever possible. So we have our cold inlets here, our hot inlets here, we've got our high pressure relief here, and we've got our 2 immersion heaters here. I really want to get this round here so I can get that onto my immersion easily. Also, the cold inlet's just there, so that's nice and good. The hot's out the top, it doesn't really matter. And then we can just run our high pressure reliefs round the back and off to the drain. Also, the other thing that I'm considering when I'm siting this is, will the door shut, that sort of thing. If there's a problem with the immersion heater, will someone with the next engineer be able to remove that and actually take that out? And if you have it round here, they're not going to be able to do that, and someone's going to be going like cursing your name, and your ears will burn. They will burn, I tell thee. And also the other thing is that we've got quite a lot of electrics at the back here. I don't know if you've noticed, but the electrics in this house are pretty bad. So I've kept all our water connections away from them as much as I can. This will probably have to come out again so the electrician can get behind this and clear all this up really. So yeah, really it's a matter of me just doing all this work now, and then we can have a look at, you know, the difference in flow rates once we're finished. Basically, just show you how much better it is to go over from the tank that we had in here to this beast, and yeah, just show you guys what the advantages are. Right then guys, so we've got our tank just sat in now. I usually try and do my cold first, which is going to go over the top, back down, and then into the bottom there with a little drain off there as well. And then I'll do my high pressure reliefs, and then last I'll do my hot, because usually that's just a swing round to wherever you've sort of finished off. So you can just watch me do that in quick motion now. Right then, so now we've got our hot and cold done. We've got everything done when it comes to water connections. I've kind of sort of put the water on a little bit and filled it up slightly. It's always at a point where I'd say test to make sure that the immersion heaters haven't come loose in transit or anything like that. It's the same with any tank really, whenever you're sort of getting a done out tank like that. Also, what I'd say is a venture a tiny improvement actually. When you send your expansion vessels out, make sure you send special screws with them, because the holes on those are really big. So make sure you get those nice big screws on there. Had a little bit of trouble with that. So far though, all I've now got to do is pop our tunn dish on here and get these two popped in there, and literally is a fill up, get this all wired up again and pressure test, and we're pretty much finished. Right then guys, oh my god, I'm so happy. We're all in, we're all done. The water's back on, we filled up. You know what that noise is in the background? That's what you call the kettle, because the water's back on. Yeah, I'm really pleased with how this job's gone. Obviously, the job's never finished until you cleared up, so old Henry Hoover's out to get a good sucky suck and make sure everything's nice and clean. So make sure we're going to do that, and then I've got to go through, well, I've got to try and build the shelves back above here somehow or other, so it's something that most people never see. So before I go, what I want to do is show you exactly how we've changed this system from the old Fortic system to the new Unvented system that we've got, with just a few little diagrams. So let's have a look at that now. So the old Fortic tank system had a mains in that came directly off our mains and then went into a cold water storage tank at the very top of the tank. The level of that was controlled by a little ball valve that just sat in there and happily let water in whenever you used it out of the hot taps. So when you open up a hot tap, a small pipe down the outside of the Fortic tank would run cold water down from the cold water storage tank and into the bottom of the hot water tank, where it was heated up by our immersion heater at the bottom and turned into hot water in the hot water storage area. When you open up a hot tap in anywhere in the house, water would come out of there. Now I'm sure you can see the main disadvantage of this system is that the pressure is only defined by how much head height there is in the cold water storage tank. So our new sexy Kingspan beast will have mains coming in directly into the bottom of the tank and not going into a header brake tank or anything like that, where it'll be directly heated up by our immersion heaters. When you open up a hot outlet, it'll come flying out of there. Now obviously the mains pressure can fluctuate at night when it goes up because there's less usage, and during the day when it goes down because everyone's using water. Therefore we need to put a combination valve on the mains in to make sure that the pressure doesn't get too high. Also at this point it's a good idea to use a balanced cold water feed, especially if you've got mixer showers or thermostatic mixers. But as I said earlier on in the video, we're not doing that on this install today for a few different reasons. So we've got our combination valve regulating the flow in. What happens if there's a problem and the pressure gets too high? Well, we've got two pressure relief valves that will dump our water into a visible tunn dish so we know that there's a problem and off to a drain. But hopefully that should never happen because we've got a lovely expansion vessel hanging on the wall to take up any variations in pressure that we may have. So I'm just going to give everything a hoover up, and let's face it, this job would never be complete without my old mate Brasso. As you can see, he's had a hard life in the old tool bag. So I'm going to brasso up all my pipes as well so they look lovely. so back in our little test place, the kitchen tap. Earlier on, it looked like this. Piddly boo-boo. Now, let's see what it looks like. Let's just whip this out of the way. Oh my God, that is so much better compared to how it was earlier. And I tested it on that big tap in the bathroom. It is flying out of there. As you can see, the stalk on this is really, really narrow. So it's always gonna be strangled down a bit, but this was the biggest problem for the customer. It was coming out like that, seriously, wasn't it? And it was taking them ages just to fill up the sink so they could have a wash, well, not so they could wash, so they could wash the dishes, you know what I mean? Oh, you know what? It's jobs like this, right? You just get excited to see the customer again and be like, oh, how did you find it? And they're like, oh, I loved it, I loved every minute of it. Anyway, now I've actually looked at the bottom immersion on this tank. Now I looked at it and thought, well, this is a bit different. There's an eco setting on it and there's a few other things that I hadn't heard about before. So I had a very quick look online, basically pinched their internet, which let's face it, we've all done a few times. And basically the immersion heater in this tank can learn the usage of hot water by the customer. So it's effectively, if you don't want to have a timer on it, you can actually just leave it up to the immersion heater to learn and know when someone's going to use the water, which is pretty cool, but still a pretty good idea. So if you get 5 minutes, guys, have a look into it. It's really, really cool. I'm going to see how they run on the Eco for a while. If they need to override it, it's a matter of just whipping the couple of screws off and just turning it up so it's overridden, and then it'll just run like any normal immersion heater. So I'm pretty pleased with that. So there we go, guys, all done. And I've got to say, I couldn't be happier with how this job has gone. We haven't had any leaks, no problems like that. It's gone really, really smoothly. It's a bit of a pity about the pipework at the back of the actual job, but this is something you kind of learn as a plumber when you go to estimate for work. How far do you actually go at fixing something that someone did in the past? Maybe I should do a video on that, I don't know. But at the moment, the tank's gone in. All the work that we've done is properly clipped. It's all parallel, it looks lovely. It's all within regulations and it all works really, really well. All that's left for me to do now is fill out the guarantee. Anyway, I'm going to leave a link to Kingspan's website below so you can have a look at the tank that we fitted today. And if you need any more information about it, by all means, contact them. As I said, please follow us on Instagram, get those stories going, and also follow us on Facebook, Snapchat and Twitter. I'm doing a vlog on another channel. It's called Times with James. I'll leave a link to that in the cards appearing right now. Click on that, and also I'll leave a link in the description at the bottom as well. So thanks ever so much for watching today's video, guys. I've had an absolute wicked time doing this. When we were doing all the quick sped up stuff, I was absolutely pumping tunes out of the radio. The house is empty. The customer's gone out and left me with the key, so it was just let's go mental and play music and do some plumbing. So please come back for our next video. We've got loads more instructional videos coming up, as you know, and also some of the more silly things like our plumbing disasters as well. And maybe, just maybe, I'll give you the heads up now on a bit of Plum Proud too. Anyway, have a great week, guys, and I'll see you in our next video. And remember, one thing y'all gotta do is hold tight. I'm gonna go and have that cup of coffee now. See you soon. It's emotional, I know. Goodbye. Goodbye, Mr. 40 Tank. Bye-bye.